Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Allison Drini. We're joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how are we doing?
Dude, I'm pretty good this week.
Yeah,
I had a good weekend. How are you?
I'm still recovering post hangover, like track hangover. I don't know if you can hear it in my
You
voice.
drink too much?
No, obviously not. I think there was so much pollen that I was like having to clean off the dash so I could see when to shift. It was
Oh,
it was a
gross.
lot. Yeah. So I think I don't think I'm allergic to many things, but whatever pollen was in the air was kind of messing me up a little bit.
So it sounds like we got kind of lucky by having it windy and rainy the day I was there. That
A little bit, yeah, because right after
we
that
weren't
it
like
got a
coated
little
in pollen.
wild. Yeah, it got a little wild. So, but
Huh.
I'm good. This is post Corvette DJ.
Are you a changed man?
Tom, I kind of want a Corvette.
Tell me about it.
It was it was just so easy to drive and it didn't do anything poorly. It was just, you know how in iRacing you don't like the cars that like just drive the way you expect them, but I do.
I know what you mean when you say that. Yes.
Yes. Uh yes, except accelerate, like Lena pointed out. She was way faster than me in a straight line, which is not what you would expect with a Corvette, um but yeah, it was just it did everything well and it did it at a pace where it felt like you could push really hard and like not get bitten by it. Um, it was just a joy to drive. The seating position was good. Uh, everything was good except the transmission is a little clunky.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I only had to shift like 3 times a lap. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, my gearing was really long. So like second was like most of the corners. The second went to like 80 something.
Yeah.
And then third was like basically the rest of it. And then I only did fourth for the kink. But the problem was I'd come out of a corner in second and I'd be pulling away from somebody. And then the moment I shifted the third, everyone would just drive by me. So and we were at power to weight.
Is that because third was really long too, or was there
Yeah.
some sort of like extra aero thing going on, or what?
I think just like the way the gear, well, I think the arrow came into play as well because we took wing angle out for the last race and the car seemed not as dead in the straightaways in comparison to other race, but we only like moved it like 2 clicks back. I wanted to remove the arrow altogether, but I couldn't talk Jacob into cutting up he has such a pretty splitter on the car. I wanted to chop it, but understandably, I couldn't. We couldn't chop the splitter. So, but I was actually surprised how much of a difference the handling of the car was. With it has like in the GLTC rules, it's called a medium wing, and just like 2 clicks like taken out of it, so it was basically pointing up, which was probably still making some downforce.
Well, it's a fastback too, so the air is coming down at it from an above angle.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of a tall wing. It was still definitely making downforce. It's not like I had nothing back there. The balance of the car would change as I like sped up.
Yeah, because it was like a hatchback Corvette, not a fixed roof coupe.
Yeah, exactly.
Car term.
Yeah. Look at Tom, car guy.
Tom, I'm proud of you.
Carlton, go away. Carlton would have loved this event, by the way. There was a car show and everything, and I was just thinking, man, Carlton would really like this Lexus sitting on rails right now, sitting on frame.
You know, I don't know if you caught this. My parents came to CMP with us, if you didn't know this. And I was watching my parents and DJ and Jacob and somebody else have a conversation. I walked up and you had pivoted your attention to somebody else and a hood went up. And you guys were all looking in the hood and talking and talking and talking. And my dad looks over to me quietly and goes, I think DJ is actually a car guy.
No, I'm not. I swear. I'm being outed.
And I was like, oh, yeah, he is.
I'm being outed. What were we looking at? Were we looking at something broken?
I think it was Raul's engine.
No, I wasn't looking at Raul's engine.
It was an engine bay. It was a hood went up.
And was I attracted to it like a moth and light?
Well, you were already there. You were already there, but it did attract your attention. It attracted the conversation happening did get your attention.
Okay, so hold on. We got to narrow this down because right now right now I'm getting accused, and I just want to get to the bottom of it. There must be some misunderstanding. Did my eyes glance on the engine bay, or was I standing there with like a hunch, like leaning into it so I could get a better view?
It was somewhere in the middle.
Mm,
It was like partial
That's-
car guy.
that's still not acceptable for me.
I like Ivan's comment. DJ is coming out of the garage.
Ivan, you shut up.
Dude, we embrace you for who you are. Just let us know. Tell us what you need,
just
and
let us
we can
know.
we can be behind you.
Love yourself, DJ.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay,
but-
sorry. So you took 2 clicks out of the wing.
Yeah, and so then it drove better, and it didn't seem like I was still getting pulled on the straightaways, but it didn't seem like I was dead because before it was like I haven't figured out how to pull the video yet because it's a 360 cam and the files are like 13 gigs, and I try to pull it into like the software and it just says error, so I need to figure something out because I want to watch the videos, but I'm really happy with how I drove. I feel like for not having raced in, I don't know, since August 2022. I believe that's when Lime Rock was. And I only did 2 races then. And before that, it was like a whole year before I raced, unless you count like endurance racing. But that is so different than sprint racing. I was just happy with how I like took care of the car and how I was like how accurate I was with my placement. And just like my racecraft, at one point, me and Andy, after the kink, we passed a car in turn 10. That car was in the middle of us. So Andy was on the inside, I was on the outside, and we like drove around this person that was on the middle of us. And then we met up in the next corner side by side. And man, me and Andy, I don't know what it is, but me and Andy have like the best races together.
I was just thinking that you guys end up near each other and then having like awesome battles.
Yeah, so we like leave each other room and like we're respectful of each other, and I think we make speed in different ways. Like Andy really makes like time right on the entry, but I'm always like lining up like the exit, so we have like a really interesting ebb and flow that like kind of creates like a fun dynamic between us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tom, I had a ridiculous amount of fun. I miss racing so much. I need to figure out my income issues so I can just like go do this more. Because man, I you know, you go like a year and a half without doing it, and you're just like, yeah, I really like it. But I think like somewhere along that way, like you kind of lose track of actually how much you love it. Like I just felt so alive and like full. Like doing car hands with people, like that was just like after the fact. Like in quali, I thought Andy was in his S2000, but it was Pete. So I like jumped out of the car and I'm like, I'm gonna go give Andy shit for messing up 8 and messing up my fastest lap. Like I just couldn't go wait to give him shit, and then I found it was Pete. So, but then I felt bad about giving Pete shit. But Pete, if you're listening, I'm giving you shit right now. But like I couldn't wait to. I was just having so much fun. I didn't take it too serious, which I'm happy with for myself. But I was still like aggressive, and I still wanted to do well. I wanted to extract everything I could out of the car, and then seeing how far everyone's come since the last time I've raced a lot of these people. Like people are getting so much better than they used to be, and like GLTC is just so much better than it used to be too. Like I think a year and a half ago, this car could have been top 5. But now it's just not. I think it's top 10, and that's basically where I finished. I finished 9th for the weekend. And I think I could have been a little faster, like race 1 and 2, but by like race 3 and 4, I think that's about what the car had. And when I say a little faster, I just went a half second faster, like in the second 2 races in comparison to the first one. I was just figuring out some some nuances of oh, and also we took off this the throttle had this like really big plate on it that put it like really close to the brake pedal. So being on the brakes and like heel toeing was weird because like I was kind of touching both pedals at the same time. Um, so once we got rid of that, then I felt more comfortable like utilizing second more in different spots and like doing like little short shifts to third. And that like found some extra time. When we took the wing out, the carousel was much better. I could just carve like all the way through it. Before that, it was oh, that's weird. My oh, because you muted
Sorry, I
the
muted.
camera.
I
Yeah,
have
the
a
camera. Oh, you got
little
sniffles?
frog here.
Um,
No, I just have like a little bit of sweet tea sitting in right here, and I can't get rid of it.
oh,
Sorry.
gotcha. Uh, but yeah, I had so much fun. I'm so grateful for Jacob. And then he had like a crew of friends come out, and they were like the crew for the car. And so I'd like get out of the car, and Ree would bring over water. So I like made new friends like throughout the weekend, Ree and John. And then the normal driver of the car, Scott, was super cool. And his wife Olivia. And yeah, there was just like a
Oh, they came?
yep.
Why?
Um,
Why did he not race in normal?
he was supposed to drive like a GT4 car or something. And then it broke. So then he was like at Road Atlanta supposed to be doing that. I think for like AER or like WRL or something like that. So on
Gotcha.
Saturday he didn't have anything to do, so he just came by and hung out.
There
So
you go.
um but yeah, like everyone was just like it was fun being like part of a team where like everyone was so focused on like the success of the car, and then I just happened to be the one like driving it. Like that was just super fun. Um
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many times in my life I'll get to experience that. So, like we've talked before, anytime you're experiencing something like that, like you just try to like take it all in. So I remember hearing your voice in my head like during that, like just like try to like be really present and like in the moment because you don't know how often you're gonna get to do stuff like that. So,
Yep.
yep, it was just yeah, it was really fun. Um, and shout out to Lena, race one. Uh, I was hounding her the whole race and she made zero mistakes. So I could not get by her. That footage will be fun to watch, Lena, as soon as I figure out how to use this camera.
I can't wait to see it. Okay, 2 questions. Wait, do you want to do peaks and valleys? Do you have any immediately?
Why don't we hear about your weekend and then we can do peaks and valleys?
Okay,
So
deal.
then it makes
Wait, my
more
second
sense.
question though, because it's relevant.
Yep.
What do you think that car needs to be like a front runner if it's not anymore?
Oh,
I'm
so
guessing like track width, wheel tire, and maybe some straight line speed.
yeah, I think the arrow needs to come off. I think it needs a brake kit because it's on the stock brakes and they're like a little inconsistent. Like that's like the last little nuance of what it needs. But I think if where the pedal catches the brake pads, which brake kits help, would have helped with like exact. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Kinda, but I'm surprised that's your like low hanging fruit.
That's like that's diminishing games. If Jacob's listening to this, that's the last thing you spend money on, but it would help. Um,
Okay, what's the first thing?
the first thing is getting rid of the wing in the splitter because that would have saved us like 150 pounds.
Are the
Um,
other cars not running that?
no, and then the other thing is we got a tune on Thursday, but the partial pickup on the throttle was very bad, so we went to an old tune, but it wasn't even the tune I drove on Thursday. It was an older version of that, which was very wavy in its power. So we ran extra weight in case I did end up on the dyno because it was peaky. But it wasn't very smooth. So we were running like extra weight for that. And then because we're on the more powerful tune, because that's the only one that had like a partial throttle that like actually functioned. Because the other one you would tip into throttle, it'd be fine, and then you get to 50%, and it would be like a full lift until you got to 70% throttle, and then it would pick back up. So you would be feeding in throttle, and the car would be carving out, and then it would like lift, and then it would like pick back throttle up, but now like the weight of the car is disturbed, so then you're just like understeering. It was very
Yeah.
weird. It was a very I was like, I can't drive this, and that was during practice. Um, so we were running like 300 pounds over what the tire should have had because we were running 275s. So that on top of the extra weight that we were running for the weird tune that could have blown dyno, um, and then the aero, so we're running extra weight there. There's just like a lot of little percentage like finagling you can do. Oh, and then also apparently the first 900 RPM of flat is free. So we were running an extra percentage of flat when we didn't actually need to because it's just an LS1 in the car. So like per the rules, and I was shifting at 6,000 RPM anyways. If we would have just limited the tune, so nice. If we were just limiting the tune to redline at 6,000 RPM, and we took that 900 free, we would only had to take 1% for the flat tune, which seems a little broken, but like that's kind of how you optimize those rules is you kind of take advantage of like the little like nuances and caveats of the rules. So we could have been running way more tire, way less weight, and I think that would have made the car just that like missing second that I had.
So you were at power to weight, quote unquote, but you were not optimized at power to weight.
Correct. Yeah, just because like
Yeah.
with the arrow and then the wavy tune, so like like it didn't like the horsepower number wasn't as flat as it could have been. It was kind of like all over the place. So we added extra just to make sure that we didn't like have a bad time.
Gotcha.
Because the last thing I want to do is get DQ'd because I like blow like overpower or whatever. So
Dude, it sucks. Yes,
I
you do
saw
not want to
some,
do that.
look to all the people in the back of the pack, in
Where's this
GLTC,
going?
dude. I saw some wild driving in the back and in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like guys, we need to calm it down back there. You guys are racing like it's
Can we
for like $100,000 or something.
can we talk about that for a second? Because I watched a lot of it too, and I don't know that I have a productive way to talk about it, so we're already in hot water. But like I saw some wild driving, and I also see some wild perspectives of people who think their opinion matters after the race and what they think of the racing. Like the opinions of what they think is good and bad and right and wrong and okay and not okay and how it shifts depending on who it is and what the scenario is and all that. I think it's getting kind of bad. Do you think that's fair?
I think it's kind of I don't think it's any different than it always has been. I think I just lost track of I think there's just more people. So like the amount of like shenanigans is up because there was 50 cars there this weekend. So like last year at CMP, I think there was like 30.
Wonder why they didn't do the AB format.
I was kind of hoping they would.
Probably just cram more cars in the event.
Oh, Lena, we had Rush. Dude, those Rush cars look a little fun. If I find a bag of money, I might rent a seat for like Laguna or something.
Hmm.
It's only $3,000 for the weekend.
A rent?
Yeah, arrive and drive. That's what somebody said. I don't know how accurate that is. I didn't get that from Mr. Rush himself, but I saw that in a group
Bob
chat.
Rush.
Bob Rush.
Robert Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I've had a couple of invitations to drive them at track days. Not in like a, hey, come drive my car. It's right now, right here. But like at a, hey, next time you need to drive one. So I'm hoping to drive one soon, but that would be interesting. I was going to drive one on Thursday, but it was raining all day on our ASM day.
Womp womp. The one dry
Yeah.
session I had, I ran out of gas. Dang it.
Oh, no. Oh, that sucks.
Kind of forgot about the gas thing. So Tom, you did CMP for like the test day. Wait, did you need to say something?
Well, I was going to put a button on my thoughts for the CMP, like driving dynamics. I think we were talking about a lot at Mid Ohio because I was there with Scott Robertson and Colton and Dan Howard. And it's just like enough people who have driven GLTC that the stuff going on at CMP was coming up in conversation in Mid Ohio. Anyway, I think that there's a little bit of a problem happening where people have a perceived right to racing room or a hope that the racing room stays available rather than actually establishing racing room and getting alongside somebody and earning the place on the track. I think a lot of the problems that happen right now, and it's not even problems because it's not like people are crashing, it's just chaos. But it's because people want the room to stay there or they think that they're entitled to room that they can see but they haven't earned. Am I making sense?
I think you are making sense. In order
You
for
know, like
us,
you're here. Let's do
Yeah,
flat
yeah.
hands for a second.
Hold
You're
on.
like right behind somebody and you pop out and you haven't actually earned the right to the racing room yet. You're just filling their mirror and you're completely out of their tire tracks.
you have no overlap.
And you want the space to be there when you want to take the space, but You haven't actually earned the right to it yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. The thing that I want to mention to people watching this that maybe weren't following the weekend is uh there was a lot of shenanigans, but it was only one wreck essentially that had like two cars in it, right? So like overall the weekend was pretty clean. At least as far as GLTC goes. Well, Lena goes, well, but like I'm saying like where the car was like really damaged. Lena got spun at like 120 miles an hour. Um, and obviously that's not ideal, but I'm talking about like where people have to write checks for like the cars to be fixed. And obviously two cars having to write checks is not good. Uh, but it was I think CMP like with the first couple corners and especially turn 4, turn 5, I bet that track turns through a bunch of cars in club racing. I'm willing to bet. I could be wrong, but it seems like it invites shenanigans. Is what I'm gonna say.
Did they ever put brake markers out?
No, I'm so mad about that. I
Dude, I even
realized
told them.
Dude, I realized a weakness in my driving. I need those brake markers. I'm very reference based. You would have been fine, Tom. You would have been like, ha 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 ha, because like you have like the best depth perception ever, right? But I'm like, I was about to like go out there during lunch and like bury like a Red Bull can if I wasn't sure if I was gonna get in trouble. I just needed one for the last corner. I had like an anthill or whatever to brake at for the turn after the kink, but for the last corner, it was just like I don't know. It was just like chunky grass. Like I didn't never really found anything. I just like looked into the corner, and I got punted really hard in the rear. And by the way, Corvettes are tanks. The wind got knocked out of me. I couldn't breathe while I was like for the next 10 seconds. I was like trying to like bring air into my body, and there was like a tiny hole in the bumper where like the uprights kind of like because the uprights are mounted to the rear bumper. Like the car that hit me. Oh my God, it was really messed up. But the Corvette, zero issues. I'm like, dude, if that was the Civic, it would have been totaled. But because it's the Corvette, like no issue.
Yeah. So linking this to my week, I went down to CMP. We had the ASM test day on Thursday, which ended up being like an amazing day, but crappy weather. So I kind of feel bad about that, but it is what it is. And the whole morning was pretty wet. It was starting to dry out. It hadn't rained in a little while. We do our lunch breaks starting at noon. And we do some pace laps to like dry the track out, and it's super windy, so the track's drying out like really nice. We do the first session out, and we did GLTC Try Hard and GLTC Chill, and we had like 35 GLTC cars that they just self-placed into the two. Do you want to chill and like do your own thing, or do you want to like try really hard?
At the Auto Interest event,
and
there's 35 GLTC cars.
No, at our day. The day you were there.
Sorry. My brain went full on quarter pounder mode and did not
I can't hear you over this beef.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh yes.
Okay, and then we did like fast time attack group and then like lapping time attack group. So we had 4 run groups. We start off after lunch. It's not fully dry. The GLTC group goes out. The second one goes out. The time attack group goes out, and it's like all the fast cars. And the radio for control is just going berserk. It's just constant. I'm like, what is happening? And I go watch for like a lap and a half, and there were no brake markers for the left-hander after the kink. And it was the first time it was dry, and all of these poor fools in their time attack cars, me included, I tried, went out, and we didn't have brake markers, and half the people were just like falling off the track in the smallest little like, oh, I dropped a sidewall, and now I'm just like in the grass for a second and coming back on. 13 cars went off that one session in 20 minutes, and I was like, what the heck? Oh, there's no brake markers.
There's no brake markers.
So I like scrambled, and I got to race control, and I like worked out, okay, they told me it was $80 a brake marker if they get damaged, so we can either pause the whole event and put out their brake markers, but then we have like assumed cost of if they get run over, which at CMP they do pretty often, or we could just figure something out. And I said, well, can I use all those cones? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I go out and I put out all these cones. And we didn't have a problem the rest of the day. And I told Adam afterwards, like, hey, by the way, they're not going to put brake markers out unless you ask for them. So maybe you should think about that. And it sounds like they didn't.
No, they didn't. And I even brought it up after it was either practice or quali. I brought it up in the group chat. I think I even tagged Adam and was like, hey, where are the brake markers? And he said, we're working on it during lunch. And then after lunch, there was a single cone after the kink at like the
Oh no.
500. So, like, I don't know what car this could have been a brake marker for, but that thing was really fast with 0 aero. Like,
It was probably that Street Miata with the Duratec swap, the turbo boost or no, eco boost. Did you see this car? It was like a totally unassuming red ND with a hard top on it, but it had like a 450 horsepower engine.
that's so cool.
Someone sent me the link to the live stream. It looked rowdy. It looked so fun. I want to drive that car.
That does sound fun. But I will admit, I come out of the kink and I'm like, oh, look, a cone. I instantly brake at it, even though it was way too early. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
I felt like a novice at HPDE where you hit the brakes and you go too early and then you lift off and then like get back on the throttle and hit the brakes again. That was me.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's not a good feeling.
No.
Well, okay. I mean, that makes a lot more sense why people were having a hard time then, if they don't have any reference points, because it was tough. There's nothing out there.
Well, so I'm blaming me getting rear-ended, not, I mean, partially on the driver that was behind me, but a brake marker, something
Yeah.
to look at instead of just the rear of my car while he's next to another car because they were fighting behind me. I even turned on my brake.
Yeah.
I even turned my brake lights on early. I was like, please don't hit me. And I was like, well, I got to slow down for the corner. And I just got nailed. But yeah, I think some brake markers there would have saved the hole in the bumper in the back of the vat because that was literally the only damage. If anything, the car was then faster. So he got rid of that high pressure area right behind the bumper.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
That's why you were faster in race 3 and 4.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I need to figure out how to drive a track without any brake markers, apparently, because if that's going to be like a thing. But like cones would have totally worked. Like put some cones out there like Sebring. Sebring puts cones out for like HPD. They don't put out like fancy number boards.
Yeah, I just put them like 20 feet off the track over there. So like the only way they would get hit is if you were already crashing.
Yeah.
And the cone was going to be like collateral. It's not
That
like
would be
you
fine.
can touch it and knock it over.
But
Anyway,
hold on.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh, go ahead.
Do people hit the poles that are at Gingerman because they're just like plastic poles in the ground, right?
I hit one once.
Oh my god! I was thinking nobody hits those poles. Here's the guy that hits the poles.
When I was trying to drift that Civic, that Honda loaned me in the drift session, I was like manjiing down between 3 and 5, and I like pitched it through 4, pitched it back, and I went to throw it in, and I had the back axle off the track, and I took it out. Related to that. Shoot, I had a thing. See, I'm gonna remember it. I'm crossing my fingers.
We talked about brake markers.
They get hit
at the track.
Oh, when I was there on our track day Thursday, I noticed that there weren't brake markers, but I kind of thought, well, maybe this will be a decent challenge to have people pick up something in detail that's beyond like an obvious brake marker choice.
Yeah.
But then when I had like 13 offs in one session, I was like, yeah, this isn't worth like a surprise pop quiz learning thing.
There was like
for everybody trying to test.
There was like a mound of dirt that was like you broke like a car length before it.
Yeah, the only things you had to use for both this is not helpful if you haven't been to CMP, but the last 2 actual braking zones, the only thing you could choose were like changes in the color of the dirt next to the track where the grass was, or like lumps of dirt in the grass, and then maybe a little bit of track texture, and that was it.
That was it.
And then like there's not even tire walls in that section of the track, really. So it's really hard to like pick any. I only drove in the rain and I had a hard time. So I knew when people were struggling in the dry, that made total sense.
Yeah. So
then after that day, my parents and I hightailed it back to Ohio. I was supposed to go to Mid-Ohio on Friday, Saturday, Sunday with auto interests. And we ended up getting caught at the track way longer on Thursday. So we didn't leave on Thursday. We left Friday morning. And then I saw that it was like high winds, super cold, and raining all day at Mid-Ohio on Friday. So I realized I missed nothing. But then I spent the rest of the weekend in Mid-Ohio, and I finally got my first laps for real, a lot of them on the new surface. So it was a very interesting weekend to drive a track that I've known since I was 15 on track and 2 years old off track on a completely new surface that had changed for the first time in that long.
So
it's weird, dude. It's weird.
I liked the surface that was at Mid Ohio because it was slippery. I tend to like slippery surfaces. I think that's more fun.
Yeah.
Is this gripped up?
Nope.
No.
Nope. It's not. It's not slower though. It's not lower grip. So I've been trying to like process this down into a very concise description. The best I can come up with, you know how like a gymnasium floor is like super smooth. If you put pretty low pressure on it, you can like run your hands across it. It's no problem. But if you hit it with enough force, like your skin will like stick and then you go like, and you stick to the gymnasium floor.
Yeah.
That's what this new surface kind of feels like. So the tire, if it doesn't have a lot of load on it, it feels very inconsistent. It feels like it can't figure out what to do. But then when you finally do get the car loaded in any capacity, whether you're braking, accelerating, turning, it'll figure it out and has decent grip. But in general, what it ends up feeling like is like, you know, the first session of Mid Ohio every morning, how weird and floaty and bizarre it felt.
Yeah, where it's like almost like there's dew on the track.
But then it gets faster throughout the day.
Yeah.
This one doesn't change. It just feels like that the whole time.
Like the floaty, dewy. That sounds amazing, actually.
Yeah. So the less confident you are, the more floaty and bizarre the car feels. But every car that I drove had the same thing, and everybody was talking about like they've probably done some mods over the break, or they're trying new tires, or they're driving a new car for the first time, and everyone has the same sort of like, oh, the car just feels nervous. Like I was talking to Scott driving the Cardinal for the first time, and he's like, it just feels like it takes multiple steps through the corner. And I was talking to Dan Howard, and he was like, I just don't like this new K-Miata build on these Falcons. They just feel weird. But everybody had the exact same experience, including me driving 8 cars across the weekend. In every single one of them, they felt just a little bit weird until you got like really in the corner.
But
So I'm curious to
hold
see
on.
how long it changes over like the next bit of time, because it's only been used for 2 weekends so far.
Do your
Go ahead.
best to define weird.
It's somewhere in the middle of the feeling of the car hunting down the highway lane when you have like a race alignment or sticky tires. You know, the car is kind of following the road.
Yeah.
So it's that level of like imprecision or lack of confidence, but it's obviously not following any paths because there aren't any. It's more like it's just on the surface and there's nothing for the tire to grab until you get it like fully loaded, and then it grips up. So transition from directional changes, transition from brake to corner, there's a whole phase where the car feels like it doesn't quite know what to do and you don't know what it's going to do. How did I do? Does that make sense? Can you picture that?
I can picture that.
Yeah. So then things like the brake zone at the end of the back straight coming into China Beach, turn 4, you have the same 5 brake markers, and I'm pretty confident they're in the same spot, but you couldn't brake at the same places that you used to because the tire didn't give enough grip to transition off the brake into the corner, and it didn't grab the surface as quickly. So like every brake marker was backed up almost by one full marker because it took so long for the tire to like actually dig in. But weirdly, like the lap times didn't seem that much slower, if at all.
Interesting. I wonder if there was I wonder if the surface that we were used to was like it would be grippier or more slippery in like certain spots, and we were like accustomed to those spots, and now it's just like overall like maybe the peak grip is less, but overall is like more or the same.
Yeah, it is. It is. Someone asked, Spaz asked if it's similar to when they paved Road America with the new tarmac. I think it's a similar feeling, but because you're cornering and linking corners so much more often in Mid Ohio, it affects what the car feels like more. Plus, we were running the keyhole chicane, so we were like obviously cornering 3 more times per lap, 2, 3, whatever that adds.
Let me ask you a question. Did you get all these cars you drove on camera? No.
No.
Dang it, Tom.
Dude, I was really disappointed in myself leaving. I don't have a single video from the weekend.
A single not even other people's videos? Nobody took a video of.
No.
Oh my god, guys! Tom O'Gorman's fired. I don't know what he's fired from, but I fired him just now.
Hey, you didn't post a single video of iRacing yet this year, so
Yeah, I have.
what's going on there, bud?
I have. They're
Did
just
you?
they're just unlisted.
Oh, okay.
All right.
No, I was super bummed. I was like, damn, I drove 8 cars. I drove 5 Corvettes, a Camaro,
Oh, so
a
this
Golf
is
R.
this isn't just post Corvette DJ. This is post Corvette Tom.
Dude, I had a heavy Corvette heavy weekend. I drove Colton's new GLTC Corvette, which is Paul Curley's old car. It's incredible. And it's the most normal feeling car that I drove. So that one was it was also really fun. Wait, can I tell a story about this real quick?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
he bought that Corvette from Paul Curley, which is the blue one, the dark blue one that's won some races and weekends in GLTC. And Colton has gone from HPDE to GLTC over the last 3.5, 4 years, I think, always in his BMW. And as they were working on the BMW, obviously, like you're building your own race car. Well, he just bought this like proven race car, and when watching him drive it for the first time, he was like, I thought race cars were just supposed to be hard. Like I thought this was supposed to be hard. This is so well behaved and easy to extract speed out of and easy to control. Like literally what you said about Jacob's car.
Yeah.
That was the exact thing but he had never driven a good car before, really. And I think you had. So it was just like, oh my God, this is so good. This is what it's supposed to be like.
My moment,
It
my
was fun
moment
to
with
watch.
that is I drove all of 2019 on the shocks that the car came with. And when
Yeah.
I pulled them out to like just put some MCSs on it because the car would bounce a lot. When I pulled them out, I found out they were actually just broken. Like they literally weren't doing anything. So I was just driving around on springs for like basically the whole year.
Your car was a
And
mess.
it
On
was it taught me how to be super smooth on entries though. Because I
100%.
couldn't shock the car or it would just like bounce. Literally, I would just bounce off the racetrack. So then when I just thought, man, driving race cars is really tough. Like iRacing and driving this car feels about the same, right? Well, when I got the MCSs, I was like, oh my God, real life is so much easier than iRacing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is awesome. I felt like a hero. Literally, first race on the MCSs I won in GLTC. That's how big of a difference they were. Just from
Right.
the broken shocks. I put them on. I did a visual corner alignment. I think I moved like a collar around after like practice and quali just because it felt like I was turning like better to the left than the right and I just wanted it to like do both the same. So I just like cranked up one corner of the car and then race one race one. So in practice, I practiced, okay, we'll probably start the race here and then I'm going to hit the brakes. Oh, well, I can brake way up by like the 100, right? So then the race one starts and everyone brakes at like the 200 and I fly 100 feet farther than them and then brake at the 100 and I look like a crazy person, but then I like make the apex and then keep driving.
Yeah.
So
So top tip from the Lizard Brands podcast: if your car is hard to drive, you probably got more work to do.
if it seems
It's
like
probably
it's hard,
not entirely you.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably not entirely you. If your car is as hard or harder to drive than iRacing, something's wrong with the car.
Yeah. So I drove that. I drove Colton's got like a stock Z06, C5 Z06 that's like a track car. Drove that. I drove a C6 Grand Sport, a C7 on the Hoosiers,
Ooh, that must have been fun.
and one other Corvette. I forget which one it was now though. And then a Camaro ZL1 and a Golf R. The guy was his first track day ever.
And he
And
throws Tom in there. Did you have him in the passenger seat? Please say yes.
yeah. But
okay.
I altered normally my job at those events, like when I say, hey, I'll drive your car and kind of like we work out, it's like a reference lap. So I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can for the sake of your data system and you riding in the car and feel how that is and all that. Like you've seen me do it. We've
Yep.
talked about it on the podcast. I like altered my approach for this guy because he's never been to a track day before. So I just kind of like talked through process and helped him with that if then equation that you always talk about. And like, here's 2 or 3 things to focus on, big ideas to
Yeah.
make this learning curve as quick as possible. And then I did one lap that was kind of as fast as I would want to go, but only as fast as I would want him to try to feel like he was going, kind
Yeah.
of. Like none of this like pitch and catch crazy drive. Just like
Yeah,
a smooth fast lap.
because you're being responsible. You don't need him to come out of that car and go, "Wow, that guy was amazing." You want him to be like,
Right.
"I think I can do that."
Yeah. While I'm like having a conversation with him. So that was like the first time I've done that in forever. It's kind of fun. And he was so excited. And then I drove a cop car, a Spec Panther.
Of course,
Still love.
you can't
still
go to an
love.
auto interest event and not drive a cop car.
No, dude. And if you're thinking of like a first track day car, don't buy a Miata. Buy a Panther.
I think a old cop car might be the way.
They do the same thing. They're both slow. They both roll around a lot.
I drove a cop car that had a manual swap in it, Tom, and I was actually surprised how fast it was.
When?
It was out autocross test and tune. That was like a month ago. So like the clutch pedal was really weird because like there's not a good place to mount it, so it just like folded backwards.
How come I can't believe you didn't tell me this?
It was
That sounds so fun.
You remember Christian with his like neon cat cop car?
Yes,
He drove it at nationals. It has like the neon, like the Pop Tart cat or whatever on it.
the burnout car. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the burnout car. That's how Tom remembers it.
I just remember seeing him doing a burnout in it at nationals.
And then I remember reading posts of people complaining about it.
Yep.
He's ruining my launch.
And old autocrossers, we love them. Oh, we love them.
He's at solo nationals. They tell him to go, and instead of go, he just roasts his tires at the line and then drives away slowly with roasted rear tires. It's actually hilarious. God, that's so silly. Anyways, he swapped a manual transmission into it, and it's freaking awesome. Like,
that sounds fun.
I was telling Christian, I'm like, dude, I want to drive this thing on a racetrack. Like, it was so good. Like, obviously the clutch was a little weird because it just folds. It doesn't have, it's, like normally you push a clutch and it kind of like just goes down.
Yeah.
This one like folded. So like
this one was like it's on a rotating arm instead of
exactly.
Just like
so like as you would push it,
press thing.
Instead of just pushing down with your leg, at some point you'd have to like push up with like your toes.
That's so silly.
It was like rotating on the end of your foot. But because the automatic sucks so much power out of the car, so like they don't feel super slow, right? It's not like super slow. It does have torque, but when that engine is directly connected to the drivetrain, I left the line. I couldn't get power down in first, so I like quickly shift to second, and then I couldn't get power down in second. It's obviously on like meme tires, like 600 treadwear tires or whatever, but I had to like modulate throttle way more than I thought I would because the thing was way faster than it should have been.
That would work really well on track then, because you're right. Not only does the standard transmission suck power, but it can't make up its mind on a racetrack.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you lift, it just upshifts a bunch. And then you're in fifth and you're like, well, I don't even know how many speeds they have. Probably 4. Then you're in fourth and you need second. Anyway.
And he put, I don't know what kind of diff he put in it, but the diff in it like is actually good. It feels like a BMW diff. It's just like actually a good diff. So like the car actually drives really awesome. So at some point, Tom, you're gonna have to come to a Steel Cities event and take some runs in a cop car.
I'd like to.
All right, Christian.
Sign me up.
Yeah, Christian, I'm pretty sure you listen to this. So me and Tom are coming. We're gonna have a podcast battle in your car. Loser has to buy lunch.
I'll get you some Bridgestones to make up for it.
Bridgestones on a cop car. Let's do it, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. And then I drove there's an old pro racing Subaru Legacy wagon that they built for the Grand Am Cup like 15 years ago. I just had to look what day it was. I don't know why.
Tom, he had to do the calculations. Somebody put like that.
Well, it's
that meme with the equations in front of the lady. That's what Tom was doing right now.
It's Tuesday, so it would have been about 15 years ago. And I didn't think to ask. I have my standard questions that I ask before I drive a car. For some reason, I didn't think to ask how much power it made. So I like pit out, and I was expecting like a stock Subaru Legacy type power, like maybe 250, whatever, 280. Yeah. Well, long story short, it has like 450 horsepower.
Was he in the
woke me up
passenger
pretty
seat?
quick. No, there was no passenger seat.
Okay. I'm just imagining you take off and you go like, whoa, what the heck?
Yeah.
That happened to me once in I can't remember if it was a GTI or Golf R. I thought it was just stock, and it was like a rocket ship. And I turned to the owner, I go, whoa. And me saying whoa to him, he was like, oh crap.
Yeah. I had that exact happen too. I was at a starting line school. Have you taught one of those yet?
No.
Starting line? Okay, so starting line school, you start off with they do like 2 runs on a skid pad, sort of like oval skid pad thing, or a slalom. They get divided out, and then they do like 2 runs as you like talk them through the idea, and then you swap and you drive their car, to show them what you're talking about, and then you swap back and you do like a 20-minute session with them, just back and forth, or around this oval. So I had this woman who had a red NA Miata that looked completely stock daisy wheels, everything. And the first 2 times through the slalom, like wildly timid, like never autocross before, super timid, was not like moving the car at all or like pushing the throttle at all or whatever. So I had no red flags, no reason to think this car was anything other than what I thought it was. And then I switch and I get in the throttle. It turns out it was supercharged, but it was still stock.
Yeah.
And I ended up like roasting the tires, and I turn in for the first thing and it's just all out of shape and everything. I was like, what did you do to this thing? She's like, oh, it's supercharged. I should have told you. It's like, well, no, I should have asked.
It's like it's on its marshmallow suspension and it's supercharged.
Yeah.
Nice.
With like 220 horsepower. It was stupid.
That does sound fun.
It's fun though.
That was fun. Austin Cobb, friend of the podcast, his car survived all weekend, and his car sounds ridiculous.
In what way?
It just sounds ridiculous. Like the dyno, I heard a car dynoing, and I was walking with Eric Catil, and we're like trying to guess. Oh my god, I'm a car guy. We're trying to guess what was on the dyno before we could see it. Oh.
Busted.
And I guessed like Eric guessed like a B series like Honda. I said I forget what I said. I think I said like I think it's like an Ecotech something or whatever. And we come around the corner and Austin's car's on the dyno because it just sounded like on decel, you know, like because they rev up and then the drum has a bunch of momentum, so it's just like forever, like on the decel. It sounded like a vacuum cleaner that like ascended from or like came up from like hell itself. Like it just sounded so ridiculous. But congrats to Austin for having a car survive an entire weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
Hell yeah, brother.
Go Austin. Hell yeah, brother, as Austin would say.
We still need to get him to say that for the microphone.
We do.
For the soundboard.
Yeah, just for the soundboard. Like we'll just have him on purely for that.
Dude, I'll say we went back to the Airbnb that we got up by Mid Ohio.
Was it the same one you always get?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't want to say where it is.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was race 2, 3, and 4 that none of us had seen. So Colton and Ed were both staying there, and Colton's wife was there, and a couple other people came over. So we were watching the races late at night. This was a really, really as chaos as maybe you mentioned it was and stuff, and we've seen all this kind of discussion after. It was a really entertaining set of races.
Dude,
super entertaining.
Like top notch, like storyline, like the Eric Coutil storyline was like so much fun to follow. Yeah, it was watching back. Like I was only a little mad that I wasn't really ever in the stream because the racing, like I could see it. I could see the racing happening, and every single time the camera would pop away, I'm like, I saw the nose of a yellow Corvette.
That was me.
I was there for a split second. But I could see the racing happening, and it was like kind of keeping them kind of close because they were just like on top of each other for a lot of it. And yeah, it was just congrats to Eric. Seriously. Me and him were trying to, because I rode down there with him. Me and him were trying to figure out like what's the last event Eric won.
Last year at Midwest.
Was he P1? No, like P1 for the weekend.
Oh, what'd you figure out?
I think it was
probably would have been sometime in 2021.
Yeah, it was
Hatch.
I think it was Midwest 2021.
Oh yeah, because my car broke.
Because your car broke.
No, I won Midwest 2021.
No, 2020. Look, if anybody knows how to look up results for Grid Life races.
Wait, I know.
You know?
I know it. It's Kansas 2021.
2021?
I think you won.
No, 2022.
Yeah. I don't think he won anything in 2022 because his hatch was wrecked and his car wasn't out until halfway through the year.
Oh, that's right. Did we go to Kansas in 2021? What, like
yeah,
in the
when we were
middle
on
of the year?
Hoosiers, and that guy was cheating really bad.
Oh, yeah. So Eric won that one.
I'm pretty sure Eric won that weekend.
Okay. So that was the last one. So yeah, Eric, like, he kind of just dominated it. I'm like, Eric, you better calm it down or these tubbed EGs are going to get like a chassis nerf or something. You better watch out. But honestly, no shade on anybody else that was driving there. Eric was driving phenomenal. Like, wait till you guys see his in car. He was just so accurate and like so lights out. Uh, so yeah, big congrats to Eric. He really did kill it.
It's definitely fun to watch. There was something else from the weekend I was going to say. Oh, it was back to Mid Ohio. Was there something else for CMP, or can I go
Nope.
back to Mid Ohio?
Yeah, you can go back to Mid Ohio.
Some of the terrain changed by accident. They said they didn't grade anything on purpose. At least I heard that they didn't grade anything on purpose, but they obviously like changed everything. So last week I mentioned how like the edges of the track are all wavy and kind of imprecise, so it looks kind of cheap, and it's also not painted with lines, so it just like is a raw edge.
Yeah,
The curbs don't meet perfectly,
I was gonna
but also
ask about
going
that.
into Thunder Valley, yeah, they don't. It's I mean you don't notice them, but it's they're definitely the old curbs with new pavement.
Yeah,
But the way the flow from where the Honda Bridge used to be down through 8 into 9 and then into Thunder Valley.
yeah,
So 9 being the right hander up over the crest for those trying to follow along into Thunder Valley. It normally would go uphill over the crest and then downhill on exit. Well, either the camber changed or the amount of elevation changed, and the car doesn't get caught in that corner nearly as quick. So the car is way pushier through there, and it kind of sucks now. It's kind of a bummer.
No, that corner was so much fun. It was
I
always
know, it's
you'd
just
always
like a little
flirt with
awkward now.
you would always flirt with how much speed can you actually carry through this, because the whole entry part of the corner is uphill, so you have like extra front end.
Yeah.
Because
That doesn't really happen anymore. But I don't know if that's pavement or terrain or if it'll come back. I guess we'll just like figure it out over
I
this
guess
year.
we'll have to see. How bad was the pavement not lining up with like the edge of the curbing?
I didn't notice it, but
You
I
didn't
think
notice it? Okay. I saw like a
I've-
picture and it looked like it was like an inch or two higher than the edge of the curbing.
no.
Okay. It could have just been a weird picture. Did you
Yeah,
walk the track?
You might. No, I didn't. I was going to say you'll probably go and tell me that you see all these details and things that I don't, that they'll process to me.
Gotcha.
So you have to tell me next time you go there.
You know, Tom, I am bummed about. Okay, you want to do peaks and valleys?
Yeah, go.
Okay, actually, hold on. This isn't really a peak or a valley, so might as well say this. I'm a little bummed that my lizard brain didn't get me to go walk the track Thursday night.
Oh yeah, it was open. Well, we were having a good time hanging out though.
I know, but like walking the track would have been such a huge advantage. And there's like so much of that track that I'm like curious about, like what the textures and actual like what the actual pavement looks like in that spot, because you can't tell when you're in the car.
No.
So
Like, would you say, pop quiz, would you say there's any elevation at CMP between entry of turn 1 and exit of turn 3?
exit of turn 3, yeah, it goes downhill.
It goes downhill through turn 1, up into turn 2. No, downhill through turn 1 into turn 2, then uphill back into turn 3, then over a crest at turn 3 and downhill again.
Okay, I thought it was just
But you
downhill
never
the
know.
whole way. I thought it was downhill the whole way.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. So I agree, that would be helpful to know.
All right, peaks and valleys.
No, we didn't get a chance to walk Mid Ohio. Okay, you go first.
Peaks. The peak was.
Well, no. Do Valley first, and we'll get it out of the way.
Oh, okay. The valley was when I kind of realized that the car wasn't going to be as fast as I wanted it to be. When I was getting kind of like taken to Gapplebee's on the straightaway, I was like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a little bit of a tougher weekend than I thought. I didn't think I was like gonna show up and like smoke everyone, but I was like, okay, I kind of understand where the car's sitting right now and where I'm gonna be kind of playing all weekend. And I thought I was kind of in the danger zone because I think I qualified like 15th or something, and that's kind of where the danger zone starts. But everyone around me, for the most part, raced me fair and clean, so I have no complaints on that. But that was probably the biggest valley, which is saying a lot because if that was the worst part about the weekend, then like the rest of the weekend went pretty well.
That's fair. That was it? Only one? It's good.
Yeah, that I can think of right now. Maybe when you say something, I'll remember.
No, only one valley is good.
Yeah.
My valley was having to leave CMP and go to Mid Ohio, which is
Oh,
also a pretty good valley. But
that's
the
also
longer I
my
was
valley.
at CMP, the longer I was like, I really wish I didn't have to leave.
Yeah, that's
Because
my
I was having a
valley.
good time seeing friends and
My valley is when Tom left. I'm serious.
whatever.
I was having fun.
So especially when they asked if I could stay and do the commentary with Greg, because I
Yeah.
love working with Greg. Whoever commentated, I think his
He
name's
did.
Chris.
Yeah, he did super good. He had like a
Dude, he
bunch
did
of cool
awesome.
little insights about like exactly how like what normally happens at CMP when cars are racing there. So I don't know what Chris's background is, but I really appreciated that input on the commentary.
Yeah.
Because I was like, all right, like little snippets like that, you're like, this person knows what they're talking about. And I always appreciate that.
Yeah, he had detailed insights on both Grid Life and CMP, and I feel a little bad that I didn't immediately recognize who it was, because I feel like I should know this person if they're that intimately aware of these things. But
Yeah.
yeah, he did awesome. He like carried the podium sprint. He
Did
was
he? I
like
didn't watch that
he was
yet.
basically the lead commentator. Yeah.
It was Chris Drum. Thank you, Ito.
Yes. I, I hope if we've crossed paths, I feel bad that I don't remember meeting him or something, but he did great. But yeah, I think leaving CMP was really my only. Oh, I had one more. One of those Corvettes that I drove was like freshly built from G Speed and had just been shipped back from Texas up here. So the guy is a friend of mine that he had driven it already, so it ran okay, and he had me drive it. And there was a bunch of smoke, like just kind of vapors coming through the cockpit and all this stuff. He checked everything out. I drove it the next day again, and it was way worse. And it turned out like some seal in the engine was leaking, and it was spitting oil all over the bottom side of the car, and it needs to go back to Texas. And he wasn't driving it hard enough yet to, I think, keep the problem alive. But then when I drove it both times, it got worse and worse. And I hate driving people's cars while they're braking because
Yeah.
I feel bad.
I mean, it would have eventually got to that point anyways. At least now in the beginning of the season, like while he still
Yeah.
has time to like have a year of track driving.
Rear main seal.
Oh, look at you throwing out terms
That was it.
that
Yep.
whoever knows what that is. Is that like the seal between the
Probably everyone listening to this podcast but us.
Hold on, let's guess what it is. What do you think it's a seal of?
I think I know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's. Okay. I thought I knew what it was, but I don't know how to say what it is. It's the seal it's at the very back of the engine where it's connected to the transmission. Oh, I feel so stupid. And it's right at the it's right at the back. I don't know. It's right at the back of the engine.
I loved your face so much. You're just like you had so much shame in your face. You're just like, oh no.
This is what I wanted the car quizzes to be. I wanted us to feel stupid. Just so dumb.
I think it's so I'm not entirely sure. I've never it's whatever it's the shaft that comes out of the engine that's like on the bottom spinny part in the engine. It's the part that comes out, right? To like to connect to the flywheel. Somebody in the chat tell us if we're right or not. Okay, that's definitely wrong. Oh no!
Or email us.
Whitney demoted me from car guy. I mean, yay!
You're in the clear again. I mean, I don't know why the engine has a rear main seal, but I know it's like at the back of the engine, right towards where it connects to the transmission, and it's like where oil could come out. It's the back part of the engine.
Well, it has the spinny bits inside, and then the spinny bits need to get outside of the engine, right? Somehow.
Yeah.
So you have a seal where the spinny bit can like leave the inside of the engine to get to the outside to connect to the transmission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
See,
like
that,
I said.
Guys.
Yeah, dude, DJ totally knows what he's talking about. Totally a classic car guy. Even though he said spinny bit and all those other terms, we'll just ignore that part.
Thanks, Carlton. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, that sucked. Oh, and I got black flagged. I got my annual my perennial black flag.
I didn't get black flagged once this weekend. I think I was a good boy.
Damn. Not once. You need to try harder.
Well, I did get black flag. A car caught on fire, and then they black flagged all after it was red flag. So.
Oh, it doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
It needs to be extra stupid, like driving too fast or something.
This wasn't a space agency event.
Yeah. All right, peaks. What are your peaks?
Oh, peaks. The start of race 1.
Okay, just because it was like the first one for a while.
I'm racing, yeah. That, and also, I was like happy with how with it I was. It didn't feel like it didn't feel like a year and a half since I took a green flag. I mean, probably because of all the green flags I've taken in iRacing, but like I was freaking on it, dude. Like right from the get go, I gained all my spots in the beginning of the race. So I like started 15th. I think I actually ended up, no, I ended up 13th, but I gained like 4 or 5 spots right off the rip. And then slowly, like as people like started driving faster, like I slowly got like picked off like throughout the race. But on the
Yeah.
start, yeah, I almost had Lena. I almost had her. All I needed was one little mistake from Lena, and I would have had you. You hear that, Lena? I was coming.
That
So
reminds me of a peak. Watching vicariously all of my friends race each other and how fun it seemed. That was a peak for sure. Like watching specifically, I know Di had an amazing weekend. I could tell how much fun you were having. I know Jason Wynn had his first ever weekend and he was stoked.
oh,
Watching like Lena had great battles.
yep.
Like a bunch of friends all had great times. That was fun to watch.
Lena said I never had my car. It wasn't even my car, Lena. You're right. Lena said, "You never had me. You never had your car." Um, I would say that was another peak for me. Is one Jason going to race GLTC, dude. I was so happy for Jason because all last year he was doing like time attack, and you could tell like he was like having fun, but like it was like you could tell like it wasn't like exciting his soul, right? And then literally his first wheel to wheel weekend, and he's like, this is way more fun. Like he's like fighting, I don't even know where he was, like 30th to 20th, somewhere in that range. And he's like, this is the most fun I've ever had on a racetrack.
Yeah.
And Jason's driven on tracks for years, right? So he like finally gets to go do racing, and he's just like he was just so jazzed about it. And you could tell like in the beginning of the weekend he was kind of nervous because like the ASM paddock was kind of giving him some shit. They're like, hey, go get Rob to take pictures of your car before you wreck it. it's like guys, Jesus Christ. And he goes, oh, that's a good idea. I should make it out. But you know what? Kudos to Jason. The car literally was as shiny as it started. So like all the chaos, everything, he didn't get a donut on his door, nothing. Like the car was perfectly clean. You can't ask for more from like a first race weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, as it should be. That's exactly what you should ask from the first race weekend and every race weekend.
Yeah,
really.
preferably every race weekend. But you know, like sometimes
Yeah.
race starts get a little overwhelming and stuff like that. But just the evidence of no marks on the car, like Jason did great, and he's having a good time. And yeah, like seeing Lena just drove so good in that first race. I didn't really see her in the other races. I don't remember exactly why, but that first race I was just behind her the whole time. And she was just so solid, dude. Like I was just waiting for a mistake to do something, and she was just like so like lights out with how she's placing the car. So
Are you just saying this because these people are listening right now,
no, dude.
live
Well,
in the chat?
you know what? I'm hyping her up a little bit because
I'm
she is
kidding.
here. But I mean, I hyped her up at the event too. She just did really good, like super good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wait, I just did one. What's another peak?
I don't know. Oh,
Did you have more?
For me.
I did one. Mine was watching everyone else race each other and have fun.
Oh, mine was meeting Jacob and all his friends. That was definitely a peak because all Jacob has surrounded himself with like the coolest people.
It's awesome. Good people attract good people.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like I think that's probably the thing I'm most thankful for the whole weekend is now it feels like I have like another group of friends like
Yeah.
in the paddock, which is cool. Like that's yeah, like Kevin said, we don't deserve Jacob. Jacob's like an angel. So
Yeah.
he's just and he attracts like these like just super genuine nice people like around him too. So I can see why Jacob and Kevin are friends because like they're kind of the same. So
That's fun.
can you guys tell that I'm feeling the love? I'm just dishing it out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next one was like our track day. How good it was, even despite having like basically rain most of the day. Like CMP has some new management people working the track that are so easy to like. I've had to fire staff people from CMP and take their jobs over during track night events like 6 years ago So it's not a track that I immediately assume is going to be easy to work with. And I'm just like expecting that to deal with that as part of a thing. And last year or at some point starting last year, our event, and this year again, they have someone new, and just the way they are easy to work with now is like amazing. That was great. And then all of the drivers were so good. At the end of the day, they were like, you guys were some of the easiest people to work with ever. And I was like, well, I hope you enjoyed working with them, because you're going to be seeing these same cars for the next 3 days still.
Yeah.
And I was just really proud of our day.
You know what?
I get like such a high off of putting off an event that I would love to be a part of. And I feel like we did that.
I'm proud of everyone that did that test day, because was there a single damaged car throughout the whole day?
Nope. The worst we had were all those little baby offs because no brake markers.
Right. Yeah.
In like heavy rain over half the day.
You didn't have any cars like connecting with each other. You didn't have any cars find any walls. The offs were like in the place, like the only place in the like track where like you wouldn't hit anything ever.
Yep.
Yep.
It's good.
So yeah, everyone did super good. Tom, I will say, because we've had this conversation on the podcast before, every time you were on the mic and you were like setting expectations for like even when it got dry, you were like, all right, everyone, it looks like it's drying out there. I don't remember exactly what you said, but you're like, the speeds are going to be faster. The car's going to be a little bit more hooked up. Like things are going to happen faster. Like, just be aware of that. Like as you're getting some dry laps in, right? And I bet like probably like more than 50% of the people there were already thinking that, but it's very heads up for you. And you can tell that you have like experience running these events where like you just come over the mic and you just give like a gentle reminder, like, hey, conditions change. Things are going to be different. I'm telling you right now, literally just so you think about it before it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like, it's just a testament to like your experience running those things. Cause like if I was running track day, probably wouldn't have thought about, like giving that little pep talk.
Well, thanks. I wish I didn't love driving so much, because I love putting on track days so much that I think I could do it for a living, and I know I'm really good at it. And I also love commentating so much, and I know I'm pretty good at it. I hope to be good at it. I try really hard to be good at it.
You are good at it.
But I still like driving the most. So it's like, you can't do all three at the same time.
You can't do all. Can you imagine that? You're like giving a driver's meeting. Also, you're commentating a race. Your race.
Dude, one of these days I'm going to grow up and I'm going to have one of those jobs and I'm going to be amazing at it. I'm actually going to get paid instead of scrambling to race all the time.
Yeah, scrambling the race. That's, you know what? That could have been another name of the podcast.
Scrambling to race?
Yeah, scrambling to race. And we would the logo would be like scrambled eggs, like in the shape of a race car.
Or with tires.
Yeah, scrambled eggs with tires.
And the yoke around them.
Yep. I like it. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, scrambling to race, you got it for free.
You and Christine's new one.
Scrambling to scramble. That's what that one would be called. So,
do you have any more peaks?
Talked about the people. A peak was that the car was completely reliable the entire weekend. It was just kind of blowing a lot of oil into the catch can. But apparently that's a thing that LS1s do. So that was like the only mechanical annoyance of the car, besides like our weird tune where we just had to revert to another one. But after my last year at CMP, I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't have to do any emergency repairs or anything. We didn't even rotate tires. After the first couple sessions, I would like look at the rotors to make sure they weren't cracked, because it's just like stock one piece rotors on like the stock brakes. And then like at some point I just like stopped looking, because I'm like, the rotors look fine. They're not even spidering anything. That's the biggest sell to for a C5, honestly, is how reliable it was.
Yeah.
You didn't have to mess with anything. Just drove the car. It almost gave me Cayman GT4 vibes, where like
I was gonna say,
where like you just go lap it and then you come back and you're like, yeah, that was nothing for this car.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a huge selling point for sure.
Any more peaks for you, Tom?
Oh, yes. So I mean, just like the general weekend at Auto Interests at Mid Ohio. For those, if you're listening somewhere else in the world, Auto Interest is a Midwest-based track day group, and they put on the events that I would want to put on, like just how well organized and how high quality the track time and the expectations of the drivers is, but clearly communicated. Like it's one of my favorite groups to be around. And I don't know, to be real for a second, I have been a little lost in like not not sure where my like space in motorsports exists recently. Like I just haven't been feeling all that like confident or powerful or like valuable recently. So something about these weekends with Auto Interest, this is not the first time this happened, where I like go into that weekend with that sort of feeling, and I leave with this feeling of just like refreshed excitement about our little sport. I don't know what it is about that group and what it is about those events, because it's the perfect intersection of like I feel valued in what I have to offer, but I also get to see people I like and have fun with them, and maybe the lack of competition at them is like the perfect palate cleanser. So like that happened this weekend, and I like feel really great. So that was really nice.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Auto Interest does put on really nice events. Was Ed there?
Yeah. So when Ed was there he's the chief instructor for the advanced group, and like I said, Dan was there, and Colton was there, Scott Robertson was there, like just a whole, and Becky and a whole bunch of people. Eric Streeter was there, like a bunch of people we know.
Oh, cool.
And just walking around and occasionally driving cars, but then like being able to offer my whatever expertise I can to people without it uh I don't know, without the pressure of like
Being
heavy coaching, or I don't
or
there's like I
or
don't
being
this
like,
like
well, because you have this thing where like you
I
don't
haven't
want,
unpacked it yet.
well, you don't want to be an authority. Like you feel like anytime somebody's an authority on something, they're like exposing themselves, and like you don't like that. That makes you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, and I hate when people push back on when I share my experience too, because it's like, well, that's my experience. I don't know what else to tell you. Like
Yeah.
I'm not seeking out a debate. I'm just
Tom,
stating what I know. What?
there's a bird trying to join the podcast.
Is it out there?
Do you hear it? Do you not hear it when you're talking?
No.
Oh,
Is he is it actually outside my window?
is your window open?
Yeah, is it that right there?
I don't know. It's only when you're talking.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Well,
welcome
because
to the Serene Podcast, everyone. I'm in a spa, and this is the peaceful birds chirping behind me.
we got the box fan running, and then Tom's birdie windows.
I'm trying to like save money on air conditioning, man. It's just nice out.
Don't wait. Hold on. We got to dig into how your apartment complex works. Do you pay for electricity?
Yeah.
How do apartments work? I thought all that crap was paid for.
No, it's metered.
Oh, it's metered. Is it heat that you don't pay for?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You live
I
there?
guess I don't. I guess I don't know what I pay for it, but I just assume running the air conditioning will cost me more money, and it's nice out, so I left the windows open.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I don't know how apartments work.
I don't know. Clearly, I don't either.
Okay. Uh, you wanna hit some emails up?
Yeah,
Or I think we had
it's a
some
good catch up. I like when we both do events and we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's
same.
fun.
I think we had some no mic questions.
Sure. You want
Um,
to start us off?
yeah, let me. Oof. Okay. I think. All right. I'm trying to reorient myself with how this works. Um.
What part of it?
Well, like, cause I clicked on the pinned messages, and then I'm like, wait, which side do I start on? Have we
Side.
unpinned these that can you go to know my question and help me with exactly where I should read?
I think yeah. If you open that and scroll to the top, it should be it. I try
Well,
to
those are the
unpin
newest.
everything we answer as we answer it, so it should be
Gotcha.
MP Spears question. I think.
Okay. So,
But you got to do the intro first.
oh yeah. Emails. Pollen voice. All right. So MP Spear, that's his Discord name. Might be his real name. Writes in, recently discovered your podcast and have been listening to older episodes. There was one from back in February where someone asked about being able to control a slide in a left turn better than a right turn. That was Mitch. I believe I have this issue too, but I think I have some additional insight, at least for me, as to why this is. I raced downhill mountain bikes for many years and could always turn left a bit better than right, which was more comfortable with additional lean. Jumping and sliding to the left. Turn left better than right, which is more comfortable with additional lean, jumping, and sliding also to the left. This also translates to my natural spin direction. Jump in the air, spin a 360 on my feet, snowboarding, bike, etc. Man, this guy's like a little Tony Hawk over here. It it was always left, and spinning to the right is very awkward. Anyway, I feel it in the car to some extent. I don't feel bad at all in right turns, but left still feel a bit more natural, and I can catch a slide slightly faster. I think I'm onto something with the natural spin direction. And he puts that in quotes. Or am I just weird? So I can kind of relate to this on a bicycle, but not in a car. Like, because turning left on a bike, for whatever reason, is easier than turning right. I don't know why that is. I like feel more comfortable hanging off the left side of the bike than the right side.
You're right-handed though, right?
Yeah. I wonder if it's because like
I think
kind of
it's-
the right side of you is like kind of more in contact with the bike, like kind of keeping you on it.
I would think so. I agree with that on the two-wheeled stuff that, or even like a scooter, you know, when you stand on your right foot and you can like carve left real easy, but turning right's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
I think there's something about your dominant hand. If anybody's left-handed and has the opposite experience, maybe let us know. But
yeah.
I mean, the original theory that we came up with when Mitch brought this up was that there's more car to your right, because Mitch also shared that turning left is easier than turning right. Controlling the car to the left is while turning left, so counter steering to the right is also easier. And I still think that that's probably more rooted in space of the car than it is dominant hand. But maybe maybe like what did he call it? The natural spin cycle.
Natural spin direction. What's your natural spin direction?
Well, I'm right-handed, so I would say also turning left, like on a bike or something, or like, actually, counterpoint on the jet ski, I'm way more comfortable like pitching it to the right, leaning my whole body weight down to the right, and turning left is awkward. Well, is it? I don't know. Maybe those are not apples and oranges. I don't remember. I haven't ridden it all winter.
David Best in the chat says we can only get to the bottom of this with McLaren F1, which is a car where the seat's in the middle.
Or one of those go-karts with two steering wheels, but only one pedal.
You just see which one you do a faster lap time on.
Yeah.
We would have to put a ballast in the seat to even out. So it's the
For
same.
science.
Yeah, it's the same weight distribution. We could do this. We
I
have
don't
the
know.
technology.
Whoever MP, I think you're potentially onto something with someone who has a natural direction that they're more comfortable rotating or controlling a car. But
If you were to have to spin till you're dizzy, which way would you spin? I would spin left.
well, in a car, yeah, I would put my left front on whatever the target was and then rotate around.
No, I'm saying like ballerina style. If you had to spin right now, if somebody's like spin till you're dizzy, which way would you spin? I would spin left.
Probably left.
Yeah.
I guess you have to ask me when I'm not thinking about it and then just see what I do.
Okay. Can we get some natural spin directions in the chat, please? Because I feel like this
Film yourself.
I feel like this person's onto something.
There's an interesting science experiment. If anyone has a fifth grader, give them this as their topic. Their hypothesis would be if someone
everyone's saying
handed
spin left.
dominant hand.
We need to find somebody that spins right and try to understand what the difference is.
I'll ask my mom. She's left-handed.
She's left-handed? I almost like want to
If
run up.
anyone's left-handed, let us know.
Well, Christine's right-handed, but I'm like for some reason I'm like dying to know what her natural spin direction is now. she's she's busy studying for the CPA exam. That's why she's not in the chat, but I'm like dying to know.
Keep us posted.
Yeah. Can if you have a natural spin direction to the right, please write in an email.
Podcast at lizardbrain.life.
I like how natural spin direction is actually going to be a thing. Thank you. How do I say the MP Spearer?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Cool. All right.
I also just realized that was the newest question, not the oldest. Oops. All right, I'm going to go to the oldest. This is from Nate Manning, who's with us live in the live chat right now. Tom, do you have any experience? Well, DJ too. If you have any experience using VBox software, if so, how does it compare with AIM? I'm looking at moving from the Garmin Catalyst, as I feel I'm already seeing the limit of this device. Yes, I have a limited experience with VBox. We use it for the one lap car, the Porsche. I forget what the thing is called, but it's a small unit that's very similar to an AIM Solo, but it has a more sophisticated display. And it does timing in the car, and then it has a VBox data review software. I have no complaints with it. I think it does effectively the same thing, but I don't know that it plugs into the car as readily as like if you were to get an AIM Solo or an AIM Dash. Obviously, you can get all the car parameters through whatever sensors are in the car, I guess. So anything OBD or CAN,
Oh,
you can get that stuff.
this is where those little blue Race Logic screens come from, right? That's VBox.
I don't know. VBox, I don't think is race. Those are separate things.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But I actually think the VBox is like an underrated starter data system. The one we use for, let me see if I can Google it real quick. VBox data software, data box thing. I don't know.
This looks like it's literally just a competitor to AIM. Like it has a
Yeah, it's very similar.
I was talking with the AIM people they were at CMP this weekend. And I was trying to get them, you know how like my takeaway from that Garmin Catalyst was that the optimal lap was like super useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you guys need to do an optimal lap. I need it in a firmware update. Now, I don't want to have to buy a new thing. I just want you to give me the ability to have optimal lap on my thing. Can the V-Box do an optimal lap?
I don't remember what the displays show. It's what I'm thinking of is called the VBox Touch. So it's got like a large screen on it, and it's very simple information that's very quick to read. Dude, I think the Garmin is such a huge miss because they bury all of the information in there and they make it so hard to find the real good stuff. I talked about that with someone this weekend and showed them how to compare laps session to session and event to event and like go through the actual charts and stuff. It's buried in there, but they make it so hard because they want the thing to be easy to use.
All right,
Easy to use.
how expensive is this thing when it doesn't even tell you the price of it? It just says get a quote.
Oh, I don't know.
That's when you know something's expensive, when they won't even tell you how much it is.
No.
There's a quote request. That's
$900
outrageous.
like.
Wait, where are you seeing that?
Just Googled it. VBox Touch.
Okay. Fine. Touche, Tom, with your
So
Googling abilities.
It's pricier than an AIM 2.
Yeah, but if it gives you optimal. How much is a Garmin? Garmin's like 1,000, right?
Yeah, it's also 900.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it includes a camera. It's not nothing.
The VBox Touch includes a camera?
No, the Garmin does.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, VBox is a good option. I still think AIM is the best, most universal thing. You just got to learn how to use the software up front. It's still the cheapest other than, honestly, it's still the cheapest other than like a used AIM is the cheapest. I think that's the easiest you're going to get.
Yeah. And
then the next most affordable would be like Apex Pro because the box is like $600 to put in your car and then you have the phone app.
Yep. Does Apex Pro do optimal? I want something that does optimal that isn't a Garmin.
I haven't used an Apex in the car so long that I don't remember what it shows. So you're asking for an optimal, not a predictive, which I think is pretty rare. I think the Garmin might be the only one that does that.
So like for one lap, the optimal is going to be super useful.
Kind of. I see where your head's at. So the difference, if you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? What the hell are they talking about? Is
Oh, thank you, Tom, for explaining it.
yeah, I don't. The reason he wants an optimal and not a predictive. Predictive is going off of your previous best lap time, and it's telling you what your current lap time will likely be. An optimal would be taking the best of everything that you've done up to that point and telling you, in reference to that, how fast are you probably going to go. So it's like it's a better supported optimal time, predictive time, than just like in my fastest session so far, I've done a 35 and you're on a 34.9 right now.
Right. And the reason why it would be useful for one lap is because you only get 3 laps. So like if I goof up, like let's say I like kind of mess up turn one on my second lap, but that was my fastest. When I head into my third lap, it's not using that second lap as my baseline. It's using my best turn one.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear whether you have the bandwidth to accomplish all of that information processing during one lap's format, but
Well,
that's a different conversation.
I mean, that's how I learned.
I know why you want it.
That's how I learned to track in iRacing though, is I always put it on session optimal and I just go,
Yeah,
I
same.
go and turn laps. Right. And that's something that I've been thinking of, like in preparation for one lap, is like, so iRacing will launch a new track and I'll hop onto it. I'll look at the track map. Maybe I'll even watch a video of it. And then I jump onto it and try to set the fastest ups I can in those first 3 laps. And then like figure out like how, what like my learning curve was, like some tendencies that I had where I could have done better, stuff like that. Right. Like that's how I improve at stuff.
Sure.
The problem is there's not that many new tracks in iRacing, so I'm not getting to practice it a bunch. It'd be cool if I could just like I said, of course, it might be way better for that because I can just download a bunch of mod tracks. But learning
Yep.
a new track in 3 laps using specific tools. But I don't think Assetto has a optimal lap. It's just a best lap.
No, it has an optimal. It'll show you green and purple sectors like Formula One. I'll show you how sometime.
But I want the live timing so I can see exactly how it's going at the moment, and that's what the Garmin does.
It has that too.
Oh,
I'll show you.
okay, thanks. Tom showed me how to sim race.
Then
This
you
is
can
the best.
use Assetto Corsa more usefully for you.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. I hope that helps, Nathan. I don't think it would be a bad choice. Although I noticed he linked one that's not what I'm thinking of. So I don't have any experience with the thing you linked. And now I just lost the link.
It's gone
Lovely.
forever.
Yeah, but it's not what I'm thinking of. This VBox Touch I've used. It's fine. Yeah.
Apparently, you have to get a
But
quote.
don't. Yeah, I guess you can't just buy one. It's so weird.
All right.
Oh, he sent a VBox HD Lite. I have no idea what that is. It's $900.
It's like a camera.
It looks like it's just a camera that also does GPS.
VBox HD
data.
Lite is a miniature video data logging system for motorsports and records 1080p video with fully synchronized GNSS data. The problem is it looks like it's just a camera until you add on the mini OLED screen, which is a $660 add-on. And then the cable. Oh, gross. All right, Nathan, I'm moving against
$70.
this. No, $140. The cable to the OBD2, which also powers so you're not running off of a battery. That is gross.
They're selling a 32 gigabyte SD card for $20. That's insane, isn't it?
Hold on, we're ripping this thing apart. Hold on.
32 gigabytes for $20. I think that's really, really, really extra terrible now.
That might be what it costs. Hold on, let's look. Oh, jeez, they're completely ripping you off.
Those should be like $3, right?
It's like $10. You want a high speed one because it's putting video on it, so you can't just buy any old SD card, but you need one like. Oh wait, no, hold on. No, this is 120 megabytes per second, and it's only $8. That's where they get you. They get you on the SD card, not the cable. The SD card is where they completely get you. The cable, it's okay. You know, production costs.
Yeah.
Is there any emails that you saw that we should be answering?
There were a couple left in there. I didn't open them because I figured we'd do the Discord ones today. There's one more Discord one that's kind of short. We're kind of wrapping up, aren't we?
Yep. We're about to wrap up.
All right, let's do this one from Dan Wendell, I think. Question is driving technique. What would the best way to approach a corner that requires a small lift and no brakes be? I'm aware the answer will likely be car or track specific. I like that question. What do you think?
Ooh, it kind of depends on the shape of the corner, right? So like you could do a partial lift that's longer because that's going to pitch the car less. But then if it's like a fast corner with like more of a pitch required on the car, then you might do a full lift because it really depends on how you want that weight to maneuver around the vehicle, right? Um, Sometimes just a partial lift if it just feels like I just need a little bit more nose to keep the car on track through like this high speed, whatever. But if you need to actually get like the car to pivot, then a full lift might be the answer.
Yeah, I have two thoughts. One is if this question's rooted in how do you build confidence for this? A lot of times what I'll recommend is um, set your speed to a known min speed for the corner that's safe. So say you're at Mid Ohio, we know the turn one is at least an 80-mile-an-hour corner.
At least.
Instead of driving down the front straight, you're having a hard time going more than 72, 73, let's say. Drive down the front straight, set your speed to 80 miles an hour, and then turn in without lifting, just to get the like fear out of your brain,
That's
get the bitch
idea.
out of your blood.
Yeah.
Just like kind of get yourself confident, and then work on like what I found as a general rule is the faster a corner is and the less speed you have to scrub off, the better it is to brake like earlier and lighter. So it's never going to be like a quick like stab 10% or 10 out of 10 brake pedal. It's going to be like a little like dragging back off.
Dude.
Or to DJ's point, long lift, but I never do long lifts. I always just do it with the brake.
I'm imagining that advice when I was driving the Cayman at CMP. If I'm like a GLTC car goes through here at 120 and it's easy flat. So if I just go 120 in this Cayman and drive through it, then I know exactly how the car is going to feel through this corner. And then I can work up from there and just like do appropriate lift to get to that known quantity of a speed and not have so much unknowns as I like come barreling into this corner.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It helps you cover the space better. It helps you feel more comfortable without that. The scary part is coming in hot and having to brake. And to my point that I talked about before, I still haven't looked up the science on this, but I know I heard something about it and read something on it at one point. The brain has a hard time deciphering things within kind of a 15 to 20 mile an hour window.
Yeah.
So if the corner's min speed is within 20 miles an hour of the entry speed, it's going to be really hard for your brain to dial in exactly what amount of speed you're going to have to dissipate, because it's hard for your brain to like detailed and get the brake done and get the brake, applied and off and everything super smooth. So either do longer, more progressive lifts, or do my theory. And like I said, as a general rule for corners that are like long radius, high speed, you're in them for a long time. You don't have to slow down more than 10 to 20 miles an hour. They're always just going to be a light and generally earlier brake, and then get the throttle back, steady, get back to a maintenance throttle, and just try to like ride out the momentum of the corner until you can see the exit and your brain can tell you like, okay, I see the C's parting and I can get back on throttle. That's what I think.
So there's at Hastings, there's turn 3 is going to be really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on my outlap, I might go like 10 miles an hour slower than what that corner looks like in a comparable car in like a video I find. I might just set the cruise and then just turn in there. So my first flying lap there, I have a better idea of what turn 3 should feel like, because you have a huge head of steam coming into it, and then the corner's super fast. And then the rest of the corners on the track seem like within the noise of like comfortability, like you could just look ahead and see it. But turn 3 seems like it's gonna make or break a lot of time because it's a long straightaway after. And any speed you're able to carry through that's gonna build all the way down that straightaway for a while. So, Tom, thank you. I'm gonna use that. I love that like cruise control thing in the corner.
Do it on the outlap.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
On one lap specifically, not even your first lap.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do it on my outlap.
Oh yeah,
I said
perfect.
first lap, but I meant like the first time I see the corner. That's what I meant.
Right.
Yeah. So unless it's like really, really cold, then maybe I'll I'll do the cruise control thing and a lesser known, but then that will be my baseline. I know I can go faster than that, right?
Yep.
So, and then I'll
And
have
it's not even for fast corners, really. It's like VIR turn 3 is a perfect example of a corner that's not that fast, but you're also within like 15 miles an hour on an entry speed to min speed, I would say, maybe 20 tops.
yeah.
So you have to brake earlier, get off the brake earlier, give the car more time to compose itself, and also your brain to not overslow. But also thinking like NCM turn 5, Mid Ohio turn 1,
Yeah,
all sorts
NCM
of
turn
corners like
5
this.
definitely comes into thought because that corner is very, very fast, and intimidating. Turn 3,
Yeah.
I don't find that intimidating at VIR. Is that, like, supposed to be an
Not
intimidating one?
intimidating, but like how to dial in. The question, I can't tell if the question was specifically about how to be confident or if it was just like, how do you know how much to brake
Yeah, gotcha.
with when the window of how much you have to slow down is so small. And I think if you think of it as a general rule, if the min speed to entry speed is 15, 20 miles an hour or less, just get on the brake early, get off the brake early, get back to a little bit of maintenance throttle so the chassis is completely static, and just try to like feel the flow rather than brake later and a charge in the corner and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Dude, that cruise control thing is so solid. Guys, this is why Tom's good at this. Seriously.
To be fair, I've said that to a ton of people. I've never had anyone come back and be like, that worked. So I don't know
Well,
if
I'll
they
let
ever
you
even
know.
tried it.
I'll let you know if it worked or
Yeah.
didn't work. If you see me going on a safari with a car that costs as much as my house, it did not work. It did not
No,
work.
no. But why do you need to go 150 into the corner that's 120 mile an hour corner when you could just go into it at 115 to get yourself confident?
Right, exactly. You don't have to charge into it. Just roll through it, have a general understanding of what it feels like when you're at speed for that corner, and then figure out how to get to that speed and where the car's composed and fast.
Yep.
Yep. Love it. I absolutely love that.
Try it.
If that's the only nugget that our listeners pulled from this episode, it was worth it to go hour and 37 minutes to get to it. So
Have we been going that long again? Dude, we got to cut our time down a little bit.
yeah, guys, we're gonna split this one. It's gonna be part 2, so we don't have to record next week. Hell yeah, Tom.
Yeah.
No, that won't work. Me and Tom will like be going through a podcast withdrawals.
Yeah. At this rate, we're going to be clearing 2-hour episodes within a couple of months.
Yep, we are trending upwards. We just keep having all these things to talk about. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and then as more people are in the live chat, and then the questions coming in are like really good. Like, the episodes might go a little longer than normal. So, all right, Tom. What do you have planned for this weekend?
Dude, it's our first ever Lizard Brains autocross school.
Whoop-woo.
Sort of.
Oh, I'm not ready for this. Oh, no, not that one. I'm obviously rusty on the buttons.
I'm excited. Yeah, on Saturday, we are going out to Grissom Air Force Base and teaching a local school that we were invited to go teach at. 10 drivers. I don't know. I've instructed autocross in so long that I'm excited to like go autocross again.
I feel like I have like so many things that I want to say. I gotta I have to like put like a restrictor on my face so I don't like spew all the things that I want to talk about too
Yeah.
fast. I just have to yeah, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be awesome.
Be a good time. That's it.
So
That's this weekend.
I'm doing that, and then at 2:00, I have to leave because I have to get to my band concert, which is also on Saturday.
Ooh.
That just practiced a casual 3 months for. So
Do you have any solos?
I not like a solo where like I stand up after and everyone like claps, but I'm the only part that plays like a lot of like counter melodies, and if like that part's not in it, then some of like the conversations happening on different sides of the band don't make sense. So I am the
Got it.
only one playing it, but it's not considered a solo.
What if people from the area went and stood up and clapped for you when you did it anyway?
I would
Then
have
would
to.
it be a solo?
I think only my sister's gonna understand when it's me because she's gonna have my sheet music. Because when we go to each other's concerts, she gets me all her sheet music so I can like follow along with what she's playing.
Oh,
Like
that's cool.
while I'm watching, it's actually really entertaining. And then I'm gonna do the same for her in this concert, so she understands like, oh, that was DJ. Oh, he's coming in soon, and then she'll like see me like pick up the horn and like blow out the spit valve and like get ready to play, and then she'll like hear like the things that we're playing and like see it on the page. So
Super cool.
yeah,
Hope it goes well.
me too. Normally my lips kind of suck when I'm standing outside all day, because they get dried out. So
Sure.
I'm just gonna be like chapsticking like crazy. So
Yeah, at
if
least you got a 3-hour drive home to like recoup.
exactly, and drink a bunch of water and stuff like that. But
Yep.
I have to like boogie home. I'm getting there like 15 minutes before we start. So
Yeah. Uh, that reminds me, I'm sticking around for Sunday to do the local event with them, and I think I'm driving a shifter cart.
ooh, I'm excited for that. Have you ever
So I'll
driven a
I'll
shifter
have
cart
maybe
before?
never have, no. Somehow.
I love this. Make sure if you have any say in it, the one that I drove, the heel plates were like Larry McLeod has the most flexible heels I've ever seen because the heel plates are important, like the positioning of how your heels are on the plates, because
Yeah.
when because the carts have so much grip. When I was getting into the brakes, I would just be like way more brake because like the seat's not gonna hold you in. Like you kind of have to like shove yourself in the seat and then just like pivot on your heels, how you're like manipulating the controls. That's like something that might catch you out. So just think about it a little bit beforehand, and you'll be a champ.
Okay. I usually do best when I don't think of it literally at all until I get in.
Okay,
And then
well, that's not how I
I
do
only
it.
react to the information I get as I do it for the first time, generally.
Okay,
But
if you're hitting the brakes and you're kind of like sliding in the seat and it's causing you to hit more brakes, be like, "Oh, DJ talked about the heel plates." That was the thing
yeah,
that
yeah,
caught me off guard. I wish somebody would have told me before I drove it and then told me nothing else.
sure. Good to know. Hopefully I don't have a noodle neck.
Do not have a noodle neck.
We'll find. I don't know.
That's a
It's a little
throwback.
chunky, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you better look down when you launch that cart.
Yeah.
I'm serious, dude. I'm excited for you. I want to be able to drive a shifter cart again, but not just for one run where I literally look like a lunatic out in course. I would love to like get a whole event where I can like kind of get dialed into it.
Sure.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I'll have a full update next week on shifter
All
carts.
right, I can't wait. That's gonna be amazing. All right, Tom, do
Yeah.
you wanna carry us out of the show?
Yeah. I don't know that I have anything clever to say at the end of this one this week, guys. Sorry about that. But as always, I love your hair. I hope you win.